Hello friends and fellow gamers, MKxJUMP here, and today we're checking out this week's event for Idle Heroes. We've had a ton of new changes to rewards and the things you can get for just playing the game, which is cool, so we'll take a look at that. We've also got some new imprints on heroes, so I'll give you a quick overview of that, although don't expect any of these heroes to break the game whatsoever. I'll explain why a little later on. And of course, guys, we are going to be checking out this week's event, which is going to be Labyrinth with some bonus rewards as well. So stay tuned for all of that. However, before we go in, let me remind you about Patreon. It's a way you can support this channel by sending a little bit of money my way and helping to keep me doing what I'm doing. As well, it gets you some rewards in return. You can potentially get yourself some account reviews through our Discord. So yeah, join us for those on Tuesdays, and you can find more information on our Discord server down below. And also a big shout out to Gonzalo Souza and Ashley Toucher. Thank you so much for your support. You are my two new people to back me on Patreon recently, so thank you so much for your support. And if you want to be like them guys, you can find a link up there in the top corner of the screen for some more information on how to back me on Patreon. Anyway, folks, let's go take a look at this week's event for Idle Heroes. So folks, with Labyrinth being this week's major event, we get 15 mithril pickaxes, which you can use throughout the week to get yourself some rewards and progress in Labyrinth, and you also get a wishing coin because Wishing Fountain is also part of this week's event. The wishing coin can just be used whenever, it doesn't really matter, you just go into the Wishing Fountain, and when you see something you like, where you get a decent amount of gold and a nice hero, go ahead, spin those super wishing coins, and yeah, some nice rewards for you will hopefully be guaranteed. Now, before we go ahead and take a look at the actual event itself, there's a few things I want to draw your attention to. First of all, in Celestial Island, when you go ahead in the adventure mode, if the merchant pops up, his store has now been improved. It includes loads of great new resources you can pick up for your gems, including Cores of Transcendence. So that is absolutely fantastic. So do be on the lookout for when the merchant pops up. Some more of his deals look pretty good. As well, Prophet Orbs have been slashed in price, so potentially that might be something you want to consider. I wouldn't be so sure though. Anything changed in the marketplace? Not really. Prophet Orbs are still their standard price. Cores of Transcendence are still being sold for 1,500, although do bear in mind, the Celestial Island Cores of Transcendence are 1,250, so you do get them at a reduced price as well. Another great thing that's been updated is the Ulta Store. If you take a look here, there's loads of new heroes you can pick up. We've got Andrea, Drake, we have Rogan, Ignis, we have Fiona and Eloise, and you'll also see that some of the previous stuff has been reduced in price as well. So get excited about this. There's some decent stuff to pick up. Drake and Ignis are just fantastic heroes to build to 9-star for early players and later E5, so there's a place you can get copies. Rogan is always going to be good, and Eloise, one of the best first heroes in the game, if not the best first E5 you could possibly build. Being able to get a copy from here just makes it one copy easier for everyone to build her as their first hero. So yeah, fantastic that she's available here to everybody. Also, there were some 1-stars in there. Let's just pretend they don't exist real quick. Yeah, there you go. Let's just forget you saw anything. Anyway, another thing that's been added is some more achievements. So if you go ahead and make progress in the Void Vortex, you'll get yourself some Stellar Shards. So that's nice. I'm going to claim my rewards here. And the more progress you make, the more Stellar Shards you get, which is actually pretty darn good. So yeah, that's going to help me make progress. If you go ahead and improve your Realms Gate Void Corruption, you also go ahead and grab some Crystals of Transcendence, which gets you closer to your first Transcendence hero, or maybe your next Transcendence hero if you're like me and already have quite a good number already. If you've made any progress in Seal Land, you can go ahead and get yourself some of these Seal Land rewards as well, which can be cashed in the Seal Land store to pick up elite hero copies, and okay, that's the light and dark one. That's pretty good. And if you go ahead and make progress in the Void Arc, you can grab yourself some Void Gnars, and these can be used to go ahead and upgrade your tree level, which is pretty good. And it's currently Void Arc right now, so you can make some progress there. Also, by clearing all stages in the Void campaign, you're going to get yourself some Spiritual Essence. That's another big one that's been added. So once you do get a ton of Transcendence heroes and you start zooming your way through this, I haven't started pushing it yet because I only have 4 Transcendence heroes and 5 is the ideal number because you can put a puppet in to get 6 and then get the aura bonus, so I'm not really touching it just yet. Also, I want to go ahead and have a giant killer hero before I do it, so I'm saving my Starry Gems for that one from the auction house. But either way, pushing through, making progress on here is going to get you some decent rewards, and it should be worth noting that we also have some additional bonuses added, such as these skins. These skins are called Mythic Skins. They're better than legendary skins, and it's a way of improving your skins higher. However, you do need to reach stage 3-3-10 in Void Campaign, which I will have you know has only been achieved by 50 people. Ever. on Android servers. So it's very, very exclusive, and you shouldn't get too worried about whether that's going to affect your account too much because, well, most people aren't going to get there for a very long time. If 50 people in the game have only achieved it, all of which are super heavy spenders, you can imagine for a lot of you out there, it's not realistic or feasible. So the last thing to go ahead and talk about before we take a look at the event itself are the new heroes that have been given imprints. And this is going to be heroes that are often used as tenants, or at least were possibly used as tenants, but no one chose to because you couldn't imprint them, so you weren't getting good stat bonuses. Well, that's going to be Kameth. Nothing really noteworthy about him. He's still pretty terrible. Corpse Demon as well, still terrible. For Fortress, the heroes are going to be Sigmund, so that's good, actually. Sigmund's a decent damage dealer and strips away armor from opponents, but Drake is still better. And Flame Strike, could be interesting on a burn cheese team, but still pretty terrible. And as well, any of these heroes, if you ever want to abuse them, unfortunately you can't. It's probably worth noting right now before we take a look at any others. To make a hero really good and really powerful, it's good to make them a homeowner. You can't make any of these homeowners because they were never originally Void 4, and that's the list of possible homeowner heroes. So these will only be better as tenants, so that will instantly cut the usefulness of anyone you go, ooh, these could be a big damage dealer. They won't be doing anything significant. Even with Tree of Origin improvements, you'd rather put them on a homeowner hero to make that hero more powerful. If you look at how people play Star Expedition or try and clear Vortex, there's always one hero doing a ton of damage, and that is a homeowner hero. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the stat bonuses you get from Cloud Island. My Vesa is absolutely stacked, and she's getting 4.1 million attack from the house. That lack of bonus is just not worth investing in any of these heroes. So sadly, anyone that is a designated damage dealer that has just been given imprints is not going to be good for the majority of people. However, that said, one of the most important heroes that's been given imprints here is Cruz. Now, Cruz has always been in and out of the PvP meta. Slap a Receptor on him, and his ability to stun all enemies when he drops below 50% HP with a 75% chance is fantastic. That has gone up. If you imprint him up to Void 3, he will now have an 85% chance to stun them. This is huge. Also, his ability through his weakness mark to improve the damage you deal to opponents by 50% has been improved if you get him to Void 4 to 60%, and so that's an additional 10% damage dealt. Cruz is the only hero that I've seen that has been given imprints that I think is actually going to make any difference to their usefulness in the meta. Another hero that's been given imprints for the Abyss faction is Queen. This is simply because she is one of the tenant slots on Scarlet Queen Halora, so I guess you can use her as a tenant for herself now, and that should be pretty easy. You can get copies of her, no problem. For Forest, same thing for Vesa. Vesa has been given imprints. Very unimpactful here. It is just because you can use her as a tenant for Fairy Queen Vesa. And the other hero here is Valkyrie. Valkyrie has been getting a lot of buzz and hype over whether she's actually going to be good, whether she's going to scale up and do insane things and be this super scary powerhouse hero with a ton of HP. Well, not really. Two key reasons. Her main damage is damage over time, and a lot of endgame opponents have damage over time Purify, which will just totally remove this, so that's not going to do anything. In addition, lots of these game modes where she could be good, like Seal Land, don't actually stun Forest heroes. Forest Seal Land is just damage over time that you take, so that's not going to help her when she gets CC'd and she heals, so that's just not going to happen. And finally, Valkyrie is not a homeowner. As I said, with these heroes, they are not being given homes. If Valkyrie was, then I would be interested in seeing how she would perform with a massive HP pool, but because you simply cannot give her a huge HP pool by making her a homeowner, unfortunately, I don't think she's going to be very good. And the same thing, even though you can upgrade her tree up, I don't think it's going to be enough of a bonus, when really those tree bonuses would be better used on a hero that has a home as well, or put towards a tenant for a hero that has a home. So yes, big shame that Valkyrie isn't going to be making big groundbreaking moves with those imprints. And Heartwatcher is disappointing. She didn't get imprints. She is one of the more impactful heroes here, and it's a shame she didn't get any added improvements to her, because she's a really cool hero, and giving her ways to survive that we can abuse, maybe in Star Expedition, would have been really, really cool. So it's a shame that she hasn't been given imprints. And for Light and Dark, it's fascinating. We now have every single 10-starable hero in the Light and Dark faction with imprints, and the one that scares me the most is Asmodel. because his crit marks were already pretty good, so it's nice to see that they'll be beefed up. But again, he can't be made a homeowner, so you can't overly abuse it, but still it's fascinating. Same thing goes for Dark Arthendal. Dark Arthendal's passive improves her attack by 3% and skill damage by 5% for 6 rounds whenever she loses 3% of her HP. So that stacks up hugely. Well, now it's 5% of attack and 7% of skill damage, and her HP pool is just even going to be bigger. So maybe Dark Arthendal could do some interesting stuff. Maybe there's some deeper Seal Land pushes we can do with her. You have to bear in mind, Dark Arthendal was able to clear Seal Land 20 without imprints, so I wonder how she'll do with imprints. Maybe there's some deeper Seal Land clears here. Maybe there isn't. Who knows? I'd be curious to see what people can do with her. But again, without being able to make her a homeowner, her performance just is still going to be very lackluster. So don't get too hype about these heroes getting improved. Honestly, I think it's just for reasons of making them tenants, because without a home, these heroes will suck. Apart from Cruz. Cruz will be pretty good with that added 10% chance to stun and 10% damage dealt. Anyway, let's take a look at the event itself. So hopping on in here, we have our usual stuff, our value packages for Sky Labyrinth are gems, pickaxes, and wishing coins. So these can be bought if you want to improve your progress in the Sky Labyrinth. We have the exploration package, which unfortunately doesn't give pickaxes, but does give 2,500 starry gems. So if you really wanted pickaxes, you could go and cash them in, because of course packages can be bought with starry gems as well. So potentially that's something you wanted. However, in my opinion, if I do buy this package, I'm just going to save the starry gems to eventually buy something good from the auction house. In addition, there's these pink privileges, and the pink privilege basically unlocks added rewards from the pink ocean, which we'll be taking a look at in a second. But is this worth investing in? Well, considering it's not offering an artifact, I would argue not. But more on that in a second. If we go take a look at Sky Labyrinth itself, the only big difference with this compared to normal Sky Labyrinths is the fact that the rewards are offering 2 conch points for every stage cleared. Typically, you can expect to do floor 6 or floor 7, so expect to get 12 or 14 conches from here, on top of your usual rewards. The exploration package does double rewards, but it does not double conch points. I want to stress that. It does not double conch points, so you'll still get 2, 4, 6 respectively, rather than getting 4 for each floor, which is what a lot of people might assume. It's there in brackets. Do not miss it. Don't make that mistake and waste $100. The mysterious chests as well are also offering conch points if you want to go ahead and buy these. 500 gems for 5 scrolls and some promotion stones is fantastic value. I'll definitely grab this. The profit orbs are good value. I'll definitely grab this. The skin package is great because I need some legendary skins, so I'm grabbing this as well. I think I might just grab everything really just for all these conch points. Even the dust here and the elite hero shard. I mean, that's probably the least exciting one, but if your account does need dust, that's pretty nice. And if you still need guild coins, then yeah, buying this 8,000 pack's brilliant. It also gives relics. And the Glory Epic Hero Selection chest is quite nice for people that want to go ahead and just wail hard during an Awakening Gala. You need as many 5 stars as you can get. And for people that are new and trying to still build heroes on their accounts, getting yourselves Glory Epic chests is nice because it includes all heroes in the game. Look, even Mockman's there, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, you can go ahead and grab all of this is what I'm going to do on the VIP series. So there you go. All purchased, bought, grabbed, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't necessarily have to buy it all though. It just depends on what you want for yourself. Wishing Fountain is another hard skip, I believe. Even though Delasium is a really cool reward, I would argue you shouldn't go investing in this, even though it gives these conch points, because these conch points are only good if you get to certain stages in the Pink Ocean, which we'll talk about, and really 4 are not going to make much of a difference, and you really need to save your wishing coins for when we finally do get a good Sky Labyrinth event, which will give us artifacts, because I don't know why we haven't had one that gives artifacts or sublimation essence or even spiritual essence, because we need to use our wishing coins for something, and it's about time we got given an event that was giving something rare and exclusive. If you look at the Pink Ocean, the rewards we get are wishing coins and mithril pickaxes. This is not what we need. We need good resources, and even if you go ahead and buy that extra package, you're just getting Transcendence copies, which, as I said, is nice for whales who want to awaken more heroes, but truly not that amazing, and you're getting a little bit of Stellar Shards and a little bit of Spiritual Essence. Now, the little bit of Spiritual Essence is actually quite nice, but considering you don't get additional pickaxes from this, you're really only going to get to floor 20 at max unless you go out of your way to get more pickaxes. So unfortunately, getting to stage 20 here is only going to get you 20,000 spiritual essences. It's still nice, but is it worth $100? Well, unless you were going to go ahead and go for these starry gems anyway, no, absolutely not worth $100. It's just ridiculously expensive. The value is improved, though, the more you want to invest in Sky Labyrinth, because double rewards does eventually add up. And if you're going super hard in Sky Labyrinth, you can potentially double the number of mysterious artifacts and other rewards you get. And these rewards are actually pretty good, right? You got to admit, it is nice to go ahead and grab some of these things that are giving us star spawn cores, for example. So that's kind of nice. But unless you're going into these deeper stages, I'm really not excited about spending money or potentially even picking up this package. As I said, I will probably buy this package just for the starry gems alone, but that's because my playstyle right now is trying to invest in an A tier hero from the auction house. So any opportunity to get a little bit more value out of my money, I absolutely will take. Moving on, we have a Soul Awakening Gallup, so potentially another reason to go and buy that package is so you can awaken some heroes, and this is where the rewards are actually pretty good. We've got our normal Transcendence copy chests for doing 20 points, and also points here. You're getting this fancy one, which is a Transcendence Chest 3, which contains Markman, Eos, Holmes-Young, and Freya. If you get to 70, you get yourself a Glory Epic Chest, which contains everybody in the game. And if you get to 100 and 150, you get some really cool rewards. You can either get a flag or an artifact, and you can go ahead and get yourself either Essence Sublimation, or you can get yourself some Spiritual Essence. So these rewards actually start being pretty good, but you do need to do awakenings, and you do need to pick up points by doing those awakenings. Unlike Transcendence Awaken events, this can be any hero you want, so yeah, I guess we can be free to awaken some heroes if we wanted. And one nice thing as well from the rewards, if you go ahead and do awakenings, you are going to pick up some starry gems, or at least contract starry gems, in return for doing 10 awakens. You'll get 50 back. Now, that's not a lot of cash back, but it's still something, so it could add up to additional awakenings for you. Is all this worth it? Well, it depends how many contract storage gems you've got, and one way to pick them up is actually the Soul Contract. Now, for a lot of budget players or free-to-play players, I would recommend doing this, putting in 6-star heroes and getting contract storage gems, because if you can hoard and stockpile enough of these so that when a Soul Awakening Gala does come around, you get the top rewards, then that's frighteningly exciting. So if you already have an E5 hero and therefore have unlocked the Void, so using food is not going to hurt your progress too much, feeding in a 6-star from each faction to get 100 contract storage gems is actually pretty good. So I strongly encourage you to go ahead and do this, just so that you can begin to build up your contract storage gems, so that you can either use them to get you added rewards in events, should you need to get like a little bit of a squeeze from your value packages here, using those contract storage gems, or maybe you can stockpile as many as possible so that you can walk into a Soul Awakening Gala event and get the top rewards. Now, that will take you a few months of stockpiling contract storage gems, but once you consider that you can remove awakened heroes from your account by going to the Soul Temple and getting rid of them if they happen to have a good tier on them, just like this, you'll get yourself additional contract storage gems, so it will eventually add up, and you should be able to complete one of these Soul Awakening Galas as a free-to-play player, no problem, and that's potentially some artifacts and some bonus tree rewards for you if you were to get lucky. So that's something to consider, that actually, as a budget player, this is great, because it means you can get some good stuff. Other than that, this event is fairly chill. Really, Sky Labyrinth is just going to be something you'll either pick over, either waiting for the event to end, or you'll go ahead and do it all on the last day. Up to you. The conches are just something you'll steadily pick up to get these bonus rewards, and if you spend something a little bit nice to help you upgrade your heroes. But outside of that, it's fairly chill, fairly quiet, and we just need to have our eyes on next week, which is going to give us a brand new Abyss hero, which will be added to the game. And as well, we've got our hero exchange store, which will put Azrael and Walter in the Ulta for a week, and we'll have the usual stuff: Palace of Eternity, Palace of Crystal, and finally a Merry Carnival, which we know very little about, but should bring some fantastic rewards. That's hopefully everything for today, folks. There's not too much else to talk about, although I feel like there was a lot of stuff covered there. If you are curious, I do think these new stores are going to be excellent, and if you haven't already seen, the Guild store has been changed, as well. So you should notice that the prices have gone down for heroes. They've added in a lot of the Transcendence heroes now, and you can also see we've got Waldeck, we've got Fiona, we've got Annabelle. A lot of heroes have been added, which is just huge. Look, even Ignis is cheaper now at 100,000. So get hype about that. That's a nice improvement. You should be seeing some decent heroes in your guild store. And if you've got Solidus like me, that's something pretty good that you're excited to eventually go ahead and spend for some of these really nice heroes. Either way, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe for more event reviews, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, though, have a great week and happy idling.